Okay, so obviously if you can't take down any walls, there are two big things that you could do that will immediately make your home feel a lot larger. So the first thing that you can immediately do is take down any unnecessary doors in your home. If you don't really use a door to close off a space that often, consider removing those doors altogether. So these can be doors leading to living rooms, dining rooms, kitchens, hallways. By removing these doors in these more public spaces, you'll allow more of a flow throughout your entire home. You really want your eyes to see past these doors and flow into the room next to it. If you don't really use that closet to store items or clothing, consider transforming that space into something else that you will actually use. Something like a reading nook, into a small office nook, more serving area, or a small bar area. This is a great way to add unused space back into your home. Another thing that you can do that will right away make your space feel a lot larger is using the same paint color throughout your home. Using the same paint color in hallways and living rooms, kitchens, it'll make the entire space feel like one big larger space, especially if your home is an open concept plan. Sometimes painting each room in your home a different color can break up the spaces and make each room feel separate from one another. White and lighter colors will open up a space and make it feel larger and more airy feeling. But I totally get that using one color throughout your entire home can feel a little boring sometimes. So if you do use color, try to use it intentionally and think about how it might affect the feeling of the space. You can use color intentionally by painting an accent wall that will bring more attention to this wall, and it'll let the other space in that room breathe a little bit. You can do this with paint or with wallpaper. If you do use wallpaper for your accent wall, consider using a larger scale pattern and stay away from small intricate patterns, as it might just add a little bit of clutter to your space and make it feel smaller. Something else that you can consider with paint is paint finish. If you want to paint an entire room in a dark bold color, which is really popular right now, consider using a high gloss finish. This look might not be for everyone, but it can add a dramatic effect, and the light will reflect off of the high gloss surface, and it'll create the appearance of adding more volume into that room. Just to note, high gloss paint will make any bumps or wall defects really stand out. Just make sure you get a professional beforehand to even out your walls so that the high gloss finish can go on really smooth. Another thing that you can do to free up some space in your home is use foldable furniture. And I don't mean those like backyard picnic foldable metal chairs or tables, but there's actually really nice foldable furniture available nowadays that you can get and that you can fold up and put away and hang on a wall, and it can even be almost like a decorative piece. So you can find things like foldable dining chairs. I really like foldable desks and workstations. I think if you don't work from home all the time, you don't need to keep an office desk set up there all the time. So foldable desks are a really clever way where you can just pop up a little workstation and work from home if you need to for the day. This also brings me to my next point, which is multi-use furniture. So you can find really nice couches now that can also turn into beds if you have guests staying over, coffee tables that can also rise higher into more of a dining table or a workstation, and you can also find ottomans or chaises that can be transformed into beds for guests. Another thing to consider when you're going furniture shopping for a small space is to find tuckable furniture. This will obviously clear up some more space if you can easily tuck away furniture. So this can be things like ottomans that can tuck under your coffee table, entryway benches, or stools that can easily be tucked under your entryway table. Try to find stools that can easily be tucked under your countertop or bar area. Consider stools without a back or armrest, or if you do get a chair with armrests, measure out your island height beforehand and try to find stools with armrests that can easily slide under your island countertop. By being able to tuck under your stools and chairs, this will clear up a lot of space in that area. While you're limited on horizontal floor space, you definitely have a lot of vertical space that you can use up. When you're decorating and furnishing your space, try to decorate the low and high points of your space. By decorating the low and high spaces of your home, your eye will be drawn up and it'll create the feeling of having more volume in your space. Spaces that are decorated only at the low points of your space, so things like a rug, a coffee table, and a sofa, but nothing up above, will really make it feel very low and smaller. But consider finding furniture pieces and decor pieces that will add some vertical height to your space. So things such as tall lamps, tall narrow bookcases, tall large plants, wall-mounted lighting, things like curtains, and large wall art will really make your space feel a lot bigger. With a small space, you should try to mount as much as you can. So mount your TVs, picture frames, mirrors, things like shelving and TV consoles as well. Mounting furniture will bring in that vertical element, and it'll also free up some floor space that otherwise heavy furniture might take up. The next thing that's important to consider is furniture layout in a home and how you flow through your space. This can be adjusted by simply moving around the furniture in your home. You don't want to stop the flow of any movement around your space and feel like you need to squeeze by furniture to get by, because this will give the impression of less space. Try to make sure that you have an easy flow throughout your home. And if you're having trouble, consider using circular coffee tables, dining tables. This will just help with the flow moving around these larger items. Another thing to note is that you never want to block any light by having large furniture in front of windows and doors. So make sure that your sofa doesn't block any parts of windows or patio doors that would allow lighting into your space. In your bedroom headboards at bedroom windows, if you have to put your bed in front of a window, consider getting a low profile bed frame. Also, try to use curtains that are lightweight and will allow light to diffuse into your space, allowing it to feel a lot larger. So try not to use blackout curtains or any heavy materials around your windows. Also, if you have a small space, I would suggest try to stay away from any heavy materials like velvet or dark leather for big furniture pieces in your home, as it might make the space feel darker and smaller. Try to go for more lighter and airy fabrics for these big items like sofas, curtains, and big furniture pieces. And then you can use these heavier, darker materials for more accent pieces, so things like ottomans, stools, and decor pieces. If you live in something like a loft and you like to use room dividers in a space, mounting a track curtain system on your ceiling can help divide certain parts of your space while also keeping it kind of light and airy feeling. You can find good track systems at IKEA, and you can also find pretty nice and affordable curtains at IKEA as well. And when you are mounting these curtains, have the curtains run from the ceiling straight to the floor to really add some height that will make your space feel larger. Or if you also don't want to completely separate a space with curtains, you can also use open shelving just to break up the spaces a little bit more, while also still allowing it to feel more open. If your eyes can see through the open shelving, it'll allow the space to feel a lot larger than placing a full-on room divider. A tried and true way to enlarge a space is to decorate with large-scale mirrors. Light and color will reflect from these mirrors, and when we see these reflections, we perceive them as added volume to the space. And I would recommend using large mirrors even in small spaces, because it'll really double up the volume in that space. Place them directly across windows to reflect the most light, and it'll also double up any beautiful views that you have. You can also add mirrors into hallways to add some width into your hallway. This reflective effect can also be achieved by using other reflective surfaces as well. So things like glass, metallics, marble as well. It will reflect light and make your space feel more open. Something that will immediately make your space feel a lot smaller than it is clutter. So you want to have really good organization in your home. Because you're limited on floor space, consider having vertical organization in your space. So things like tall, narrow shelves, tall dressers and drawers, and also things like wall-mounted shelving. Also, you try to find furniture pieces that can also double up as storage space. So a lot of bed frames and couches now actually have room for storage space underneath, kind of within them. So you can find some really nice pieces that you can also store items as well. One big misconception is that you should only get small decor pieces for a small space. And I think this is totally wrong, because having a lot of small pieces in a small space will make it feel very cluttered and small. If you want your space to feel more expansive and larger, try to mix up small pieces with larger decor items. The balance between small and large pieces of decor will make it feel like it can take on those large pieces of decor or large pieces of furniture without them actually taking up all the room. Consider making the most important and most useful pieces to you the largest pieces, and then some other pieces you could go a little smaller. Also, I think using large art pieces in your space can make your space feel a lot bigger. If you need tips deciding what to hang on your empty walls in your home, consider watching this video that I'll link in the description below and it will be on the screen right now, where I give you a few fresh ideas of what you can hang on your empty walls. I hope this video was helpful, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.